What's up guys, Sean here, and today we're going to be making a nice little desktop background in Cinema 4D and just using a couple effects from Photoshop. So this is basically the image we're going to be making right here. And yeah, so it's got a nice 3D text, nice 3D object in the background. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? Alright, so now that we're in Cinema 4D, all we have to do is just add a nice little background and a floor. So now when you have your background and your floor already in Cinema 4D, now you're going to load a texture, and in the texture you're going to go to the color and you're going to change the texture to a load image. And then you load your image, whatever it is. Mine's just like an urban scene with graffiti in the back. And so just load it onto this. And then once you've done that, drag that material onto the floor and drag it onto the background as well. Now, go to the floor, click on the little material in the floor, okay? Now, change it from flat right here in the projection to frontal. And then once you've done that, click on the floor, go to Cinema 4D tags, and go to compositing. And then uncheck self-shadowing and click compositing background. Then once you've done that, you should have your basic image right here with a floor in it as well. And so it's just your normal image that you would see in just like a JPEG viewer. So now, once you have that, move the floor down a bit because you want it to be around where the actual floor is, maybe around there or so. And once you did that, just add your text or whatever you want, just anything, really. I mean, it's up to you. So yeah, just move this text in. I'm going to fillet the caps a bit and maybe move up the radius of the fillets a bit, add some steps, and of course add what the text is saying. So let's say just art or something like that, and move the depth a little bit and change the text to Harbara. Yeah, that should look good. All right, yeah, so once you have that, basically your text is in place, and now just go to your make a new material. This I'm just making a dark grayish color with a reflection, and for the reflection just go to make it a Fresnel reflection and move down the mix strength and the brightness down to about 30% each. So yeah, just add that to your art text or whatever text you're using and then render it out. And now you see there should be a nice little reflection of the ground on the text, which I think gives it a really nice effect. So to add just the shadow part, just add a light and move the light up a little bit because you don't want the shadow being very large. So when you have the light selected, just go to the maps or the shadows, go to shadow map soft, and then render it out. And there you go. It's got a nice little shadow on the bottom, and it's got the reflection of the art. So overall, I think this looks pretty nice. And if you want, which I did in the other one, you can always click on the text object. This has to be a MoGraph text object, though. You have to click that, click C, and then it makes it a polygon. So now you can move these around like this, like just singularity at A, R, and T, and you can move it around and then rotate them and stuff and give them a nice position if you want, but I'm not going to do that right now because I mean you can do that on your own. So yeah, basically I'm going to render this out and then I'll see you in Photoshop. So yeah. Alright, so now that we have our basic image for our desktop background in Photoshop, now all we're going to do is just make a couple adjustments to add it, to give it a nice little effect. So let's add a solid color. And let's make it a nice bluish color. Yeah, let's make it a nice bluish blue. Yeah, let's make it a nice blue color. And then we're going to take the fill and reduce it down to about, I don't know, let's say 12 or so percent. So it gives it a nice tinted blue color. And now we're going to go and add another adjustment layer. And this time we're going to change the brightness and contrast. So now I'm going to up the contrast a bit just to give it a nice, just make the text pop out, and then maybe add a little bit of brightness, maybe about 20 or so. So yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So now we're going to select the background and select this little elliptical marquee tool, and we're going to go around it like this, around the text and around the object that you put in, And now we're gonna click. Now we're gonna hold down Shift and Control and hit I. So now it selects the surrounding outside area that's not this. So it won't mess with this, but it will mess with the stuff that's in here. So now that we've done that, just hold Control and J, and that will make it its own little layer. And now that we have the outside area, its own little layer, let's just select that and add a nice, let's see, let's add a filter, let's add a blur, maybe a Gaussian blur, and let's change that to around, let's say, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3, yeah, let's go 3.3 pixel blur, and we'll click OK. And now you see we got a nice little blurred outside edge, and we got the inside looking fairly crisp and clean. Oh, and just to do a final thing, just click on the background, or no, not the background. Let's see. Click on layer, and oh, I guess it didn't happen this time. So yeah, this is pretty much it's pretty much done. Now just go up here and save, and just save it as just an image, and yeah, just save it as a JPEG, and yeah, and then you're done. Just save it and make sure it's 12, the maximum quality, and click OK. And then once you've done that, it's pretty much over. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I should be making more of these. So if you want more, just tell me, and tell me what you want me to do, because I can do several things. I mean, I don't know, I'm fairly good at editing. So yeah, bye, later, deuces, I'm good. Oh shit, sorry guys, I forgot to tell you something, but when you're making the second layer in Photoshop and adding the elliptical marquee tool, you have to go up to modify, I believe it's in edit, go to modify and feather it out, so it gives it a nice smooth transition of the blur. Okay, so I just wanted to add that in at the end, just to make sure you guys knew how to make it just a nice smooth transition.